fills me in the air, it shivers cold and thin.
Echoes of the Forgotten Bride. Episode 16, The Dunes Remember. Sand is patient, it shifts, rearranges, remembers every footprint, every body, every story written on its surface by wind and water and time. And sometimes, in certain places, sand can show you what it remembers, what it's seen, what it knows. But knowledge has a price, and some futures shouldn't be seen, some fates shouldn't be known. This is the 16th echo. David Ashford had writer's block, not the mild kind, not the kind where you stare at a blank page for an hour. The kind that felt like death, like his creativity had been surgically removed, like he'd forgotten how to form coherent thoughts. He'd been a novelist, a good one, 3 published books, critical acclaim, a small but devoted following. His 4th book had been due to his publisher 6 months ago. He had nothing, not even a first sentence, just emptiness where stories used to be. His therapist said it was burnout. His agent said it was fear of success. His ex-wife said it was him finally being exposed as a fraud. David didn't know what it was, just that it was killing him. Slowly, one blank day at a time. So he'd retreated to Haven's End, rented a beach house, told himself a change of scenery would help, that the ocean would inspire him, that solitude would unlock whatever had been locked inside. 2 weeks in, he had nothing, just notebooks full of crossed-out first lines, aborted paragraphs, stories that died before they could breathe. That's when he saw her, the woman on the beach. She was creating something in the sand, large-scale, intricate, using a stick. Her movements were precise, deliberate. Art, David realized. She was making art. He walked closer. The creation was massive, mandala-like, circular patterns radiating from a center point, symbols, shapes, things that looked almost like writing but weren't, at least not any language David recognized. The woman looked up. She was maybe 30, dark hair in a long braid, weathered skin, eyes that were too knowing, too old for her face. She smiled. It's Tide art. It'll be gone in a few hours when the water comes back. It's beautiful, seems like a lot of work for something temporary. Everything's temporary, might as well make it beautiful while it lasts. David felt something shift, a spark, the first hint of inspiration in months. What are you writing in the sand? The woman tilted her head, not writing, showing. The sand remembers. I just help it express what it already knows. That's poetic. Are you a poet? I'm Linnea, and no, I'm a seer. The sand shows me things, past, present, future. I just translate, make it visible. David should have walked away, should have dismissed her as one of Haven's End's eccentric locals, but he was desperate, and desperate people do foolish things. Can you show me something about me? Linnea studied him. You're blocked, creative paralysis. You want to know why, want to know if it'll pass. How did you? The sand told me. It tells me everything about people who walk on it. You've paced this beach every day for 2 weeks. Always the same pattern, always the same frustration. The sand remembers your footprints, your energy, your despair. Can you help? Linnea considered, then nodded. Come back at low tide. Tonight, I'll show you what the sand knows. That night David returned. The beach was vast, empty. The tide had pulled back, leaving wet sand that gleamed in the moonlight. Linnea was there, already working, creating a new mandala, larger than the one from this morning. Stand here at the center, don't move, just watch. David stood where she indicated. Linnea worked around him, her stick dragging through sand, creating lines, shapes, patterns. It took an hour, maybe more. David lost track of time, mesmerized by her movements, by the emerging design. When she finished, she stepped back. There, look down, tell me what you see. David looked. The mandala had resolved into an image, crude, abstract, but recognizable. It showed him, at a desk, writing, pen moving across paper, expression, content, peaceful, creating. That's what I want, what I'm trying to get back to. Linnea shook her head. That's not what you want, that's what you were, past. The sand is showing you memory, your relationship with writing before the block, but look closer, at the edges. David looked at the periphery of the image, smaller figures, his ex-wife, angry, his agent, disappointed, his publisher, waiting, impatient, all of them demanding, expecting, taking. You wrote for them, not for you. The sand shows the truth. You gave away your creativity, made it a commodity, a performance, a transaction, and now there's nothing left because you never had it for yourself. David felt exposed, seen in a way that was uncomfortable, but true, undeniably true. Can you show me more? Show me how to fix it. Linnea hesitated. The sand can show futures too. Possibilities, but David, be careful. Some things shouldn't be known. Some futures are best discovered, not foreseen. I need to know, please, if there's any hope, any path forward. I need to see it. All right, but remember, you asked. She erased the first mandala with her foot, began creating a new one. This took longer. The shapes were different, more complex, more unsettling. When she finished, David looked down and saw his future. Multiple versions, branching, possible. In one he was writing again, productive, happy, but alone, isolated, no connections, no love, just work. In another he'd given up writing entirely, taken a teaching job, miserable but stable. In a third he was with a woman, partnering with her, creating together. That version looked happiest, most whole. But in a fourth version he was dead, drowned, face down in the sand. The image was clear, specific, terrifying. Linnea's voice was soft. The sand shows probabilities, not certainties. That death is one possible future, but not the only one, not inevitable. When does it happen? Tonight, during the next high tide, if you walk back along the beach, if you're lost in thought, if you don't pay attention, the water will come faster than you expect. The undertow here is vicious. You'll be pulled under. That's what the sand sees. David felt cold, ice cold. So you're telling me, if I walk back along the beach tonight, I die? The sand is telling you, I'm just translating. Then I won't walk back. I'll go the long way, around the dunes, up the cliff path. Linnea nodded. Yes, that's the choice. That's the divergence point. But David, look closer at the version where you live, where you change your path. David looked. In the other futures, the ones where he avoided death, there were more images, branching further. In one he met a woman at a coffee shop. They talked, connected. She was a writer too. They began collaborating. That path led to the happy future, the partnered future. But that woman, the one from the coffee shop, David looked at her face in the sand, looked up at Linnea. It's you. Linnea smiled, sad, knowing. The sand shows everything, including its own desires. I've been alone a long time, David, the sand knows. And sometimes I think it shows me what I want, not what's real. Is this real, this connection, or is it just manipulation, the sand writing a story? I don't know. That's the problem with seeing futures. You can't tell which parts are destiny and which parts are desire, which paths are real and which are just hope. David's mind raced. Then show me more. Show me what happens if we do connect, if we follow that path. Linnea shook her head. No, I've shown you too much already. The more you see, the less real your choices become. You start living toward a seen future instead of living in the present. That's how seers go mad. How I almost went mad, seeing everything, choosing nothing, just waiting for predetermined moments. But you saved my life by showing me the drowning. I would have walked back along the beach. I would have died. You changed my future. Or I showed you a possibility and you changed it yourself. David, this is why I don't usually do this. Why the sand art is usually abstract, symbolic, because when you make it specific, when you name futures, when you show deaths and loves and choices, you trap people, you steal their present by burdening them with their futures. But I needed to know, needed to see, needed something to break the block. And now you know, you saw yourself writing again, happy, with someone, creating together. Is that enough? Or do you need to see every detail, every moment, every choice between now and that future? David looked at the sand, at the versions of himself, at the woman who might be Linnea, at the death he'd avoided, at the life he might live. And he realized she was right. He'd seen enough, too much maybe. "Erase it, please, I don't want to see any more." Linnea raised her stick, hesitated. "Are you sure? Most people want to see everything, want to know how it ends." "I'm sure, I'd rather live it than see it." She erased the mandala, her foot dragging through sand, destroying futures, erasing possibilities, leaving only blank beach, only present moment, only now. They walked back together, not along the beach, but up the cliff path, the long way, the safe way, the choice that meant David lived. They didn't talk, just walked in comfortable silence. At David's rental house, Linnea stopped. "I should go." "Wait, that version where we're together, creating, was that real? Is that possible?" Linnea's expression was conflicted. "I don't know, the sand shows what might be, but futures change, shift, rearrange, like sand itself. What I showed you, it was true when I drew it. But now that you've seen it, now that you know it's already different, already changing, maybe we do end up together, maybe we don't. Maybe the very act of seeing it prevents it from happening, or makes it happen, I see. I can't tell anymore." "Then let's not try to follow a seen future. Let's just be present. See what happens without trying to make it match what the sand showed." Linnea smiled. "That's wiser than most people are capable of. All right, coffee tomorrow, the shop on Harbor Street. No prophecies, no futures, just two people talking." "I'd like that." Over the next weeks, David and Linnea spent time together. They talked about art, about writing, about the burden of foresight, about the freedom of uncertainty. And David started writing again, not the book he'd been trying to force, but something new, something inspired by Linnea, by the sand, by the strange intersection of fate and choice. Linnea showed him more sand art, but she kept it abstract, symbolic, no more specific futures, no more death warnings, no more glimpses of what might be, just beauty, just temporary creations that the tide would claim. But one afternoon, as they walked the beach, David saw something that made him stop. A mandala Linnea hadn't created. The shapes were familiar, the pattern, it was the drowning, the death he'd avoided but updated, current. Linnea saw it too, went pale. "I didn't make this, someone else, or something else. The sand itself." "What does it mean?" "It means the future I showed you, the death, it's still possible, still approaching. You changed the path, changed the timing, but the possibility didn't disappear, it just moved." "To when?" "Tonight, the sand is showing me tonight. Same scenario, high tide, beach walk, distracted, but David, this time I'm with you. In the image, we're both walking, both distracted, both drowning." "Yes." They stood in silence, processing. The sand had warned them again, given them another chance, another choice point, another divergence. "So we don't walk the beach tonight. We stay away from the water. We choose a different path." Linnea nodded, "But there's something else. Look at the alternate versions, the ones where we live." David looked. The mandala showed branches. In one future they avoided the beach, stayed safe, but their relationship ended. They went separate ways. Fear had driven them apart, made them suspicious of every choice, every moment, waiting for the next danger, the next warning, living in prophecy instead of presence. In another future they walked the beach despite the warning, but they paid attention, helped each other, watched the tide, survived together, and that path led to deeper connection, to partnership, to trust. We have to walk the beach, don't we, despite knowing? Because if we don't, if we let fear control us, we lose each other. Linnea's eyes were wet. The sand is cruel sometimes. It shows you exactly what will test you, exactly what you have to risk to get what you want, and then it makes you choose, safety or connection, fear or trust. What do you want to do? Linnea looked at the ocean, at the water that might claim them, at the beach that held both death and life. I want to walk, I want to choose trust, even knowing the risk, even seeing the possibility of drowning. Because the other future, the safe one where we separate, that's drowning too, just slower, just lonelier. Then we walk together and we pay attention. We watch the tide, we watch each other. We make the seen future impossible by choosing to be present, careful, aware. That night at high tide, they walked the beach. hand in hand, hyper-aware of the water, of the current, of the sand beneath their feet. They talked, kept each other present, grounded, not lost in thought, not distracted, just there, together, alive. The tide came in, fast, vicious, like the sand had promised, but they saw it, moved up the beach, stayed ahead of it, helped each other over slippery rocks, watched for undertow, survived. When they reached safe ground, they collapsed, laughing, crying, relieved. They'd seen their death and chosen to risk it anyway. And by facing it together, by being present, they'd made it impossible. But the next morning, David went to the beach alone, early, to see if the sand had anything new to say, and there it was, a mandala, freshly drawn, Linnea's work. He recognized her style. The image showed them, older, still together, still creating, still choosing each other. It showed books with David's name, art installations with Linnea's signature. It showed a life, full, complicated, real. But at the edges, more warnings, more possible deaths, more dangers, more choices. The sand was showing them that the future wasn't fixed, that every day was a series of divergence points, a series of risks and choices and possibilities. Linnea appeared beside him. I couldn't help it. After last night, after we survived, I needed to see, needed to know if there was a future where we made it, where we kept choosing each other. And there is, but David, look at all the warnings, all the moments where it could go wrong. The sand is showing me that staying together means constant vigilance. Constant choice, constant risk. There's no safe version, no easy version, just the version where we keep facing dangers together. I'm okay with that, are you? Linnea smiled. I've seen my future alone. I've seen what safety looks like. It's empty, boring, endless. I'd rather have this. The danger, the uncertainty, the constant choosing, as long as I'm choosing you. They erased the mandala together, feet dragging through sand, destroying the futures, releasing themselves from prophecy, committing to presence, to making choices in the moment, not because of what they'd seen, but because of what they felt, what they chose. David started writing again, really writing, not forcing, not performing, just creating, stories about choices, about futures seen and unseen, about living with knowledge that could paralyze if you let it. Linnea kept making her sand art, but she changed her approach, stopped showing specific futures, started showing questions instead, possibilities, invitations to consider, not predictions, just provocations. And together they built something, not the perfect future the sand had shown, but a real one with arguments, with mistakes, with moments of doubt, with dangers they navigated together, with choices made daily, hourly, constantly. They learned that prophecy was a trap, that seen futures were cages, that the only way to really live was to stop looking ahead, stop trying to control outcomes, stop living toward predetermined moments. Just to be present, to choose, to risk, to trust, to face dangers together instead of alone, to let the sand show what it showed and then erase it, purposefully, determinedly, choosing blindness over paralyzing sight. Because the future isn't something to see, it's something to create, not by following a path shown in sand, but by walking forward together, unsure, unafraid, or afraid but moving anyway. The sand remembers everything, every possibility, every choice, every death, every life, but we don't have to remember it all, don't have to carry all that knowledge, all that burden. We just have to remember this moment, this choice, this person beside us, this step forward, this breath, this now. That's the only future that matters, the one we're creating, right now in the present, with no script, no prophecy, no predetermined outcome. Just love, just risk, just the beautiful, terrifying act of choosing each other, again and again, despite what the sand shows, despite what the futures promise or threaten. Just this, just now, just us. The sea remembers every future, every possibility, every death that almost was, but it respects only those who see the warnings and walk forward anyway, who know the risks and choose connection, who face prophecy and choose presence. Because life isn't about avoiding death, it's about choosing life, actively, daily, with full knowledge of what could go wrong, and choosing love anyway, choosing risk anyway, choosing each other anyway. That's the bravest magic, not seeing the future, but creating it, one choice at a time. This has been Echoes of the Forgotten Bride, Episode 16, The Dunes Remember. Join us next time for Episode 17, The Harbor's Heart. Until then, remember that some things are better unknown, some futures are better unseen, and the truest path is the one you walk without a map, just faith, just trust, just love.